What is going on, YouTube? I am Lamont at Large. Today, I am in Miami, Florida. I'm here to talk about the unsolved murder of Paula Sladewski. There is a couple of things that Paula Sladewski, who grew up in Detroit, Michigan, loved as a little girl. She loved makeup and she loved clothes, just fashion in general. And as she grew up, in an interview, her mother said that she wanted her daughter to have a respectful job such as a nurse. Now, originally, Paula had moved to California to go to school to be that nurse that her mother wanted her to be. But after a while, she figured out that nursing wasn't going to pay the bills, well, her kind of bills anyways, because buying Fendi bags, buying Louis Vuitton and Gucci, that costs a lot of money. So instead of going to school to become a nurse, she decided to pursue a modeling career. She had made a couple attempts at getting into Playboy magazine. She did not get into that magazine. However, she did appear on a Playboy video. So with her modeling career and her expensive taste in clothes and fashion, she decided to start dancing at a strip club in Southern California. So we're gonna move into the late part of 2009. Her and her boyfriend, Kevin Klim, both living in Southern California, decided to make a New Year's Eve trip to Las Vegas. So they're looking online and they're looking at hotels to stay in, and then all of a sudden they figure out that, hey, the flights to Florida are pretty cheap. There's a Lady Gaga concert that they want to go see. So they decide to scrap the plans to go to Vegas and head out to South Florida, Miami to be exact. They touch down in Miami. They get to their hotel, which is not very far from where I'm walking right now. They attend the Lady Gaga concert, and by all intensive purposes, they had a pretty good time until the early morning hours of Sunday, January 3rd of 2010. This is Club Space, a very, very popular after-hours nightclub here in the Miami, Florida area. So at about 5:30 a.m. Sunday, January 3rd, 2010, a very already inebriated Paula Sladewski with her boyfriend, Kevin Klim, attend this nightclub because they just wanted to keep on partying. Hey, they don't live in Miami. They don't come out here very often. They want to have a good time. So according to eyewitnesses in the case, Paula comes to the club, very attractive woman, and is gaining a lot of attention, not only because of the blonde hair and her figure, but also she's wearing a very, very short miniskirt. So she starts dancing on the dance floor, getting a lot of looks, a lot of heads turning. She starts getting very flirtatious, dancing very provocatively, and wouldn't you know it, she's kind of inching up her miniskirt, and she's not wearing any underwear, and that's causing Kevin to get very upset, very angry. He grabs his girlfriend and says, hey, we gotta go now. You are drunk, you are making a fool out of yourself, let's get out of here. She pushes him off. I wanna stay here, I'm having the best time of my life, get out of my face. The bouncers of the club start noticing them getting into a verbal altercation, and they tell Kevin, hey, you got to get out of here. He looks at his girlfriend, he says, come on, let's go, let's get back to the hotel, let's get some sleep, we've had way too much to drink. And she doesn't want to go with him. She decides to stay in this club, and he gets kicked out and he leaves. So about 30 minutes later, drinking a little bit more, getting even more inebriated, Paula Sladewski gets kicked out of the nightclub. About 30 minutes later, after her boyfriend leaves, she's escorted out of the club. And on a surveillance video, when she's leaving the club, she appears to be followed by a man who police say might be either a Latino male or possibly a light-skinned black male, and that is the last time anybody sees her alive. So later on that Sunday afternoon, into the evening, Kevin Klim wakes up out of his drunken stupor. His mind is still cloudy about what happened the previous night. And then all of the memories of that morning start slowly entering his mind. He remembers the fight with his girl. He remembers being kicked out of the club. And he realizes Paula's not next to him. So immediately he gets worried, calls her cell phone, no answer. His mind is racing. He calls the police. He says, hey, me and my girlfriend were at a club last night and we got into a fight. I got kicked out and I can't locate her. The police are not going to be worried about a 26-year-old girl who's in Miami who came up missing all of a sudden. They got supposedly better things to do. So they tell him to call back when she's missing for 24 hours or whatever excuse they gave him. He starts getting very, very worried. He starts searching for his girlfriend. He's calling the jail. He is calling the morgue. He's calling police stations, sheriff's departments, and they're all giving him the runaround. He even goes as far as to hire a private eye for him to go back to the club, retrace her steps, so forth and so on. Eventually, he calls the police again, and he says, my girlfriend is still missing. It's been almost 14 hours. I don't know where she's at. And they tell him they're busy with a crime scene, a very, very grisly crime scene. Later on that evening, the same day that Paula was reported missing by her boyfriend, Kevin, 911 received a call of a dumpster fire located at 1491 Northeast 130th Street, which is this building right in front of you. At that time, it was a propane business. The firefighters come out, see the dumpster on fire. They hook up their hoses and put the fire out rather quickly. Just an average call, really, until the smoke cleared. Once the smoke cleared, one of the firefighters looks into the trash can, and to his utter shock and horror, there was a corpse inside. After the homicide detectives processed the scene for whatever clues they can find, they called the coroner's assistant to come and pick up the body for autopsy. They take it down to the coroner's office. The medical examiner is looking at the condition of the body. It would be very, very difficult to conduct an autopsy just because there wasn't much left of the remains of the person. They couldn't even tell if it was a male or a female. It was believed, of course, that it was a homicide, and the person doing the examination was able to determine to the best of their ability and just partly guessing that the victim had died from some form of strangulation, whether it be from a ligature or a form of a manual strangulation. They did a dental records check of the corpse that they had, and unfortunately, to the utter horror of the family of Paula Sladewski, it was in fact her. It has been almost a dozen years since the unsolved murder of Paula Sladewski, and Miami homicide detectives are no closer to solving this case than they were from the start. There is no evidence, no DNA, nothing to go by. All we're looking for is this man. Again, the composite sketch of the individual seen walking after Paula Sladewski that night at the club. Police definitely want to talk to this person. This person remains the prime suspect, but we have no identity of who he is. We have no name. We don't even know what race he is, but take a really good look again. at that picture. Does that picture look like somebody that you know? Does it look like a coworker? Does it look like your friend? Does it look like your dad? Does it look like your brother, your uncle, your cousin? Maybe they're a little bit weird. Maybe they do stuff like this. Think back. You got a family member that's a little odd. You ever had a conversation with another guy and you start talking about sex and it kind of gets creepy, and you know that guy, you just don't talk to him about certain things because he's just a kind of a pervert, you know what I mean? Just kind of a weirdo. And he looks like him. Think about it. 305-471-TIPS. That's 305-471-8477. There is a $3,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the person responsible for Paula's murder, but of course the monetary compensation should not matter. Just being a human being and getting a killer off the streets, because if we don't get this person off the streets now, it's a good chance he'll do it again, or he has already done it once again. Getting this guy off the streets protects all of us at the end of the day. We don't need this psychopath in public harming our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, our nieces, so forth and so on. I am Lamont at Large. I will catch up with you on the next vlog. Peace.